This is the Ryder and Lisa replay.
Brought to you by Southtown Hyundai. Check out the Southtown Hyundai Advantage at southtownhyundai.ca.
So last Thursday, the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress, Alberta Provincial Council, and Firefighter Aid Ukraine set up shop in a West Edmonton warehouse. And their intention was to collect enough items to fill a plane for Ukraine. They made it happen in less than 9 hours.
Incredible.
Yeah, so a charter flight took off this morning with donations to Ukraine, and I actually think it's going to Poland, and it's all ready to be distributed. Everything is labeled properly. So big shout out to all of the volunteers, everybody that was helping to load all of this. There's nearly 12 tons of firefighter gear, medical supplies, and other desperately needed items like an infant incubator, an x-ray machine, and hospital beds.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Tell me something good.
My story is about a Nigerian mom who have found out the hard way that jaundice is still a very dangerous disease in Africa. And that's just from a scary situation that she dealt with in her personal life. My daughter had jaundice when she was born, and it's really scary. Like, she was quite yellow in color, but everybody was like, oh, no, it's cool. You just put this, like, electrical blanket on her and for the next 12 hours or whatever it was, and she'll be fine. And she was. But when there's countries that don't have that technology readily available, it can be a really scary disease. So what ended up happening was this mom decided that she wanted to do something about it and invented a solar-powered crib that gives the blue light therapy, blue light phototherapy that can treat jaundice at an early age. And it's doing wonderful things, and it's available to so many more people now. So big ups to her on an invention that is immediately making a huge difference.
Cool.
Tell me something good.
Play 107, it's Ryder and Lisa. I have a buddy who I was chatting with yesterday, and he's just having a rough time getting his kid off screens. And with spring coming up, he really wants like a new hobby or something. Just anything to get the kid out of the house and excited about doing something else.
Well, I think that's the struggle for a lot of parents. If their kids are addicted to their phones, their screens, their video games, it must be so hard to, first of all, convince them to be interested in something, getting them to that destination to start something new, and then having them wanting to go back to it.
Right.
This first-time texter says he should take his son rock climbing at Rock Jungle Boulders. It's super fun. You get a good little workout. There's a great crowd of people, and they play really good music.
Vertically Inclined, too, is a really cool little climbing gym close to the station here, actually. And it's a really good time. I've taken my daughter there quite a bit. And you're right, the exercise is incredible.
Joan says volunteer at an animal rescue.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
That's a really good idea. Vanessa says cleaning up dog poop from the dogs that they wanted. Okay,
Yes.
that's not a hobby.
Well,
That's a chore.
some parents are ruthless.
Vanessa's
Love
just
it.
so mad. They got these kids a dog. She's the one walking it, feeding it, cleaning up its poop.
One of our regulars around here, Miles on the phone. What do you got for us, man?
A good suggestion for a hobby is fishing because it gets them outside. They get to learn about different things about nature. And if they get into it heavily, they can actually get into fly tying.
They can get into what?
Are you in the bathroom?
No, fly tying.
Okay, and also I feel like if you're somebody who goes fishing with somebody, you can get into some really deep conversations.
Oh, yeah, and there's a lot of people out there that are heavily into fishing that are more than willing to help somebody new learn how to do the sport.
What does this have to do with drinking Mai Tais?
Not a whole lot.
Okay, because didn't you say that if they really like fishing, then they can get into Mai Tais?
No, he said fly.
Tying flies. Fly tying.
Fly tides.
Yes, you know, tying flies as in the fishing lures.
We don't fish.
Okay. Have you ever
This
heard
conversation makes me want a Mai Tai.
have you ever heard of fly fishing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's you tie a fly to go fly fishing.
Oh, tie a fly.
Oh, got it. Thanks, Miles. Appreciate it.
Poor Miles. He calls us every morning. We like to get him going. He gets so mad at us.
I actually didn't know what he was saying there. High tides.
Tie flying.
That's our ignorance for not knowing. But
Love that guy. I'm actually shocked he still calls us every morning. Oh, I love Lindsay's text. How about a job?
yeah, all right. We'll put that on the list. The difference of parents, hey, that are
I love
texting
it.
in. Yeah, me too.
I love it so much.
We got Lisa on the phone. Your 12-year-old has a cool hobby. Tell us about it.
He's getting into gardening.
Gardening.
Yes.
My mom used to tell me to go pick the weeds about, I don't know, 4 times a day, and I realized in my adult life that she was just annoyed of me in the house. Like, I was like, there's no weeds left. But he actually does like gardening, eh?
Yeah, he started because he's very sensitive to a lot of the taste, so he prefers fresh strawberries, raspberries, and the carrots out of the garden.
So is he already seeding or whatever it is?
No, not yet.
This weekend.
What?
See?
Yep,
Oh, do you start it indoors
Yes.
and then move it out? Oh, okay. Cool.
we do, yeah.
Yeah, I've never done that either.
Yeah. Ryder's garden was such a fail. His dog was just peeing all over it. He's like, hey, I guess I'm getting my groceries from the grocery store.
Yeah.
No, when COVID hit, we went hard and started in February, and it was out of control, so.
Awesome. Well, that's such a great hobby and a great suggestion of what we're talking about. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Raising them right.
Thank you.
Play 107.
5 simple words. $1,000. It's Ryder and Lisa's 1K wordplay.
We are joined by Cheryl, who is caller 7 and is ready to choose a teammate. If you can line up 5 for 5 with the first word that comes to your head, and your teammate does the same, you win $1,000.
Awesome.
So who would you like to
I'm going to go with Lisa.
You're going with me? Kate, I'm leaving the room.
get out of here, Evans?
Got this, Cheryl.
Word number 1, Cheryl. Anthony.
Anthony, sorry, was it? Is that what you said?
Anthony, that's right.
Hopkins.
Word 2, Cheerios.
Cereal.
Word 3, motor.
Cross.
Ooh. Word 4, Monopoly.
Game.
Okay. And word 5, ice.
Melt.
All right, Lisa, come on in. Some good words here. Yeah, I think she's going to win some money. $25 for everyone you get right. If you get all 5 right, you win the $1,000.
Okay.
I'm going to leave the one that I think might be the toughest for the end. We're going to start with Cheerios.
Milk.
Lisa.
Did she say cereal?
She said cereal, yeah.
Come on, Lisa.
All right, let's still win Cheryl some money. Next up is motor. Motor.
Oil.
That is wrong. She went with cross. Next up is Monopoly.
Game.
Yay.
$25.
Oh, I would feel so guilty if we didn't get any. It's tough.
The fourth word I have here is ice.
Cold.
Sorry.
Incorrect. Melt is what we were looking for there. And
Okay.
finally, Anthony. Anthony.
Hopkins.
Whoa, you got that one.
That's awesome.
See, I thought Henday would for sure be what you both came up with for that one.
That could have been it.
Awesome, Cheryl. You got yourself $50 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Thank you.
Came across a story yesterday about a Costco love connection. A gentleman posted that he had a real connection with somebody he was chatting with there. Didn't think to get her number, really regretted it. Posted on one of the Facebook pages, the Costco Facebook pages in Edmonton. We caught word of this, ended up talking about it yesterday and posted the story. And the girl he was looking for actually heard us talking about it.
Yeah.
Reached out to him, and they went for coffee yesterday. And we wish
of date.
Yeah, we wish them the very best.
Yeah, love it.
Such a cute story. We'll try to get them on sometime down the road if things are going well, or maybe even if they're not. We want to know the juice.
Yeah. Spill that tea.
Manny hit us up, and he's got a pretty similar story, actually, about finding love in the grocery store. So you were at Superstore, one that you don't normally go to, getting some late-night eats. You ran into a very beautiful woman you were kind of blocking each other's path. She had also never been to that Superstore before.
What are the odds of that?
Got a little awkward. She told you which way to go by grabbing your shoulders and saying, you go this way, I'll go this way. Take it from there, man.
So we talked for a little, and then sounded like she was interested, but I thought maybe she was with someone, so I didn't want to just assume. And then I walked away. I was like, okay, bye, very awkwardly. I'm not a very smooth talker, as you would say. Then I I was walking down the freezer aisle, and then I ran into her again. And then she started talking to me, and I was like, oh, did you find your chicken? And I'm like, all awkward. And then again walked away. I was like, okay, should have asked for her number. What was I thinking? And then I get to the till, and she walks up behind me at self-checkout, and I was like, oh, okay, now's my chance. And I, asked for her number. And then she's like, okay, and she goes to give it to me. But then it's my turn at the till. So I go up, and of course, that day got, 50 produce items, and I had to enter all the numbers in manually. And I'm, panicking, entering all these numbers, she's going to give me her number. And I turn around when I'm done, and she's gone. I'm like, oh, well, there goes that chance. And then I walk out the store, and she was waiting for me, and then gave me her number.
Hey, and so you guys are still together?
Yeah, been married 5 years, 2 kids.
Whoa!
Oh my gosh, I love that you were both at a Superstore that you don't frequent.
No, yeah, it's not a common Superstore for either of us at all.
My mom always talks about this, how one decision changed the entire landscape of our family. We were all sitting around, and she's like, yeah, if I would have never went with your dad's sister for dinner that night and met your dad, none of us would be here right now. We all look around and we're like, whoa, that is pretty wild.
Yeah, and to pick that Superstore, it was a last minute. I cut across 3 lanes. Oh, I need chicken tonight, and just went to that Superstore.
Does it feel like you look back now? Do you feel like there was something pulling you into that Superstore, something more powerful than just your hunger?
Just your chicken?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
It's kind of cool to think that way, though.
Yeah,
worked out great.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy.
Thank you for the call. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Manny. And it's so cute. His wife is actually listening right now. She texted in saying, to be honest, guys, Manny is a super hottie and nice. We were a perfect match made in the air-chilled poultry aisle.
And Lisa.
On Play 107.
We're talking about strange ways you met the love of your life. We had Chelsea texted and said, strange way, you guys. And it's very true.
It is true. So Chelsea won her way on to a trip with us to, did we go to
Cuba?
Cuba.
Yeah.
And we brought one of our buddies along with us because we just reached out to all of our friends saying, hey, we're doing this station trip, so book a ticket and come with us.
So not only did she win a trip to Cuba, she also
won a husband.
Won a husband. Yeah, they're getting married in November.
So I've been an oil field guy 20 years. I'm 40 now. And my wife worked at the Subway in Devon. And late night, I had just gotten back home from a rig doing some maintenance out there, and I was like, I'm going to stop and grab a sandwich. She was working in there, and it was on Halloween, and she was wearing an angel costume, and, I thought she was hot or whatever. and she didn't seem super interested, so, I left her alone, and I went home and ate my sandwich in my apartment by myself. And I was at my buddy's house, 4 or 5 days later, and there was a picture of the Subway girl on his fridge. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, how do you know this girl? She works at the Subway in town here. And he goes, oh, that's my wife's sister-in-law. It was her ex. They had a kid together, and so she would come over and visit her nephew there all the time.
Okay.
She goes, why? And I said, I thought she was cute and blah, 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 right? And my buddy's wife decides to play matchmaker and phones her right then and there and says, hey, we have the company Christmas party coming up. You want to come and be Brandon's date? And she goes, well, you're just going to be hanging out with us anyway. And she goes, sure. So she comes along, And, we hit it off. She comes to the Christmas party.
Did she remember you from Subway?
No.
Okay.
She did not. I was not memorable.
Okay.
So, but that was 15 years ago.
And you guys are still together?
Still together, got 2 kids.
Awesome.
And they recently closed that Subway. But we talked to the lady that was closing it down, the corporate lady.
Yeah.
And we asked what they're doing with everything from there, and they let us take the neon sign home.
Oh,
That's
so
super
sweet.
cute.
So we have it hanging in our living room now.
Awesome.
I don't know if I'd be able to handle having a Subway sign in my living room at all times.
I get so hungry.
Yeah.
I live close to a Mary Brown's, and when the wind is coming from the east, I can smell it, and that's enough to wreck me. If I was also looking at the logo the entire day, yeah, I'd be eating out a lot.
Lacey just wrote in saying, we were actually roommates. He moved out and in with his girlfriend. About a year later, he actually stopped in to pick up his mail. The rest is history. We're getting married this July.
Whoa. That's cute.
Yeah. Sarah texted in, first-time texter. Thank you so much for listening to our show. And she said, I met my partner in a pretty unconventional location. He was the cameraman at the Thunder from Down Under show at the River Cree.
Which, for those that don't know, is a male entertainment show, right?
Yeah.
Strippers from Australia.
Sarah went on to say, I thought the guy with the smirk on his face watching the show from behind the camera with the dad bod was hotter than anyone shaking their thong on stage, and I knew I had to have him. This was a big study that was done. 87% of people are more stressed than ever.
You know what, though? I think that's the kind of question you ask some people, and no matter when you ask them, they'll be like, yeah, pity party's on. You know what I mean? So, let's wipe out at least 15% of people for, always thinking they're at their peak stress level. But the numbers are still high, even with all that considered.
With everything going on in the world right now, I do understand.
And the price of everything here at home. It is so expensive. I feel bad for people that are, hardcore budgeters that have everything figured out to the dime for their monthly budget, because sudden changes to gas prices.
There was a viral picture from a grocery store recently that had people just in an uproar. And you know how you can go and buy a flat of Campbell's soup? You can buy a 12-pack of them.
Sure.
$22 for a 12-pack of tomato soup.
That was probably $11 a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
And then you look at utilities,
yeah.
So I'm not downplaying people's stress right now.
No.
And you add on top of it a looming war, a pandemic that is still going.
Yep.
It feels like we're at the tail end because we've all talked ourselves into making sure that it's the tail end of it. But it's
every
still
single
ongoing.
topic that you bring up or subject, there's something stressful and negative to say about it. I'm just wondering who this 13% are who are like, no, I'm good. I'm all good. I'm like, you don't read the news. You're on an island. What is what?
Ryder and Lisa.
Brought to you by Southtown Hyundai.
Play 107.